Just a couple of minutes, but first, a one-on-one conversation with St. Louis's new police chief. During an extended 30-minute interview today, John Hayden talked about his St. Louis roots, gun violence, protests, and community policing.
5 on your side's Art Holiday reports on the chief's determination to rebuild trust with citizens and within his own police department.
When you got the word that you were police chief, do you remember the first thing that came to your mind?
The first thing that came to my mind was I wish my parents were here to see it. And although I believe they can see it, but I wish they were here to talk to me and congratulate me.
Although there was a nationwide search, the city's new police chief is a lifelong St. Louisan.
I went to college and played football at Washington University. I still live in the city.
John Hayden knows he faces multiple challenges: racial tension within his department, a rising homicide rate, too many candlelight vigils, and not enough community trust.
In order for us to solve crime, we're going to have to get greater participation.
You inherit one of the deadliest years in St. Louis in a couple of decades. Over 200 homicides. Will that change in 2018?
I certainly hope so. I'm going to do everything within my power to make that change. If I want to focus on violent crime and I want to focus on places where the violent crime is occurring the most, I have to listen to the people that live over there. A lot more face time with citizens causes them to share more with you. I'm going to put a lot of my supplementary resources in areas that have been very challenging over the years. And I do believe that that's going to have a significant impact on violent crime.
But you've also talked about creating more trust within the police department. How does that happen? Why is it necessary? There's
some racial tension right now within the department. And I'm not going to run from that at all. I want to have some hard conversations with our officers. Of course, I want it to be led by a competent consultant. But at the end of the day, we need to talk to each other about how we feel about each other.
What do you want to communicate to the city about the way you feel about the city and how you hope to make it better?
My vision would be we have a police department that public trust is at its highest, that when it comes to public trust, that we're beyond reproach, and that violent crime is significantly decreased in the city.
Hayden says police are not social workers, but because citizens often call police first, he wants his department to work with community agencies. Hayden says it's another way for the police to connect with the community.
And so what did the chief say about future protests in St. Louis?
He says he is interested in meeting with protesters and getting feedback from protest leaders and getting feedback from protesters. And he said he hopes to find middle ground between the right to protest and the right to quality of life by the people affected by the protests. And as we know, that's a complicated issue for any police chief.
And a complicated job for him ahead.
No doubt.
Yeah,
Thanks,
here's an
Art.
idea of just how daunting that task is for the new chief. Since Art sat down with him this morning, there have been at least 3 violent crimes in the city. A man was stabbed on Hickory, just south of downtown. That happened about 11:30. A man was shot at Salisbury and I-70 near the McKinley Bridge an hour later. And just after 2, another man was shot in the Baden neighborhood. All 3 victims are expected to survive, but so far, only 1 arrest.